Hello everyone. Another day of work is done and I still do not like my job. I would much prefer a job that has to do with little kids.
0 faces. Voice over off.
I'm sure that there are people out there that would enjoy working in a call center setting, but I am absolutely not one of them. I'm not good at memorizing numbers. I'm not good at memorizing anything with numbers in it. It takes me forever. I just would rather do something that involves me teaching people something, or something that has to do with little kids, like daycare work or something like that. I'm going to go online right now and see if I can start filling out an application in order to possibly get another job. I hope this is enough light, because my plan is to get this job and then be like, I'm gone. Not, gone, but like gone out of the program that I'm in. I don't know though. We'll see. But yeah, I do not like this job at all. I know that you're not supposed to work in a job that you hate, but I mean, what do you do when one thing is offering you a job and they're the only thing that's offered you a job? I mean, do you turn that down? Because I didn't turn that down, and I legitimately hate this job. But anyways, I'm gonna go wash my face and look this up. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow. I thought maybe I would feel better about my job after I started doing it. And it's been almost 2 weeks. And I still hate my job. Like, and the other thing is, I think I told you that. I think I made a video. I had my Surefire interview yesterday. Maybe I didn't. And, so if I didn't, or if I did, sorry for the repeat. But I had my Surefire interview yesterday. Today is Tuesday. When this is being filmed. I had my Surefire interview yesterday, and the guy arrived on time, but he went to the wrong entrance looking for me. Forgot to include that in my telling of it to my RSB counselor. RSB is Rehab Services for the Blind. So anyway, we get in the van, and it's fine, it has air conditioning, and then I realize he's using GPS, which means he probably doesn't know where he's going, and he had to use GPS to take me where the interview was being placed. So I get there, and the guy comes to get me for my interview, because you have to do an in-person interview, and he starts telling me, go over there, go this way. And I'm like, what's over there? What's this way? That's not how you have to be specific with a blind or visually impaired person. And he's like, oh, sorry. So I do the interview, I come out, and I sit down, and this guy with oxygen on, who I've never met in my entire life, starts talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I was supposed to leave an hour ago, and my ride still isn't here. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And so we're talking, and we're talking, and we're talking, and all of a sudden he runs out of oxygen because his oxygen tank has a battery that lasts 3 hours, and it's apparently been 3 hours. So then he sits there for like 5 or 10 minutes trying to do meditation in order to breathe, and then he goes back to the back because he's like, oh, I think I hear a lady, I'm gonna go see about my ride. And she's like, oh, I didn't even know you were still here. And she was like, I knew the young lady was still here, but I didn't know that you were still here. The young lady being me. So she comes out to the front and she asks him for his name, and she's searching for him, for his ride, and she's like, oh, you don't have a ride, I have to go call them. So she goes and calls them, and it's another few minutes. And at this point, I've taken out my phone because I'm gonna get him an Uber or a Lyft or an ambulance, because this is ridiculous. Like, the guy can't breathe and you're letting him sit there, and you didn't even know that he was there. Like, he could have passed out or died or killed over and you would never know. Because you don't come up to the front and check, and you don't check your cameras if there are any, which I'm assuming there are. So she's like, calling his ride, and the ride finally shows up a few minutes later, and he leaves. And then a couple of minutes after that, my ride shows up. And the guy that did my interview when he first took me in there was like, I'll try to help you watch for your ride. I never saw him after that. So the lady from the back shows up again, and she's like, oh, I'll walk you out there. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's cool. So she's like, do I take your elbow or... And I was like, no, I take yours. First of all, you're working with or for people who have visual impairments. You should know sighted guide. You should know how to give proper directions. The fact that you don't means somebody failed somewhere along the way. Okay, so I go outside, and the driver of the bus, it's a bus this time, the first time it was a van, the driver takes or has me take his elbow, and he asks me where I'm going, and I tell him specifically, like, there's a specific entrance at Alpha Point. It's a circle drive where all the clients go, and I specifically told him the circle drive. So we get in the van, we're driving down the road. He asks me again where I go, and I again say circle drive. I do that at least 2 more times. And we get to Alpha Point, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna take me to the circle drive. No, he takes me to the employee-only exit. And then I say, I have to go to the circle drive, I'm a client. And he says, are you sure you're not an employee? Yeah, I'm sure I'm not an employee. I'm a temporary employee. So he's like asking me if I'm an employee, and am I sure I don't go there? I'm like, yeah, I'm absolutely sure I don't go to this entrance. So I finally convince him to take me around to the circle drive, and he gets out, and he's helping me out and everything, and he's like, are you sure you're not an employee? Like, he asked me that at least 8 times. Are you sure you're not an employee? And I finally said, I'm a temporary employee. After this is over, I'm leaving. And he said, you'll probably be an employee by the end. And I said, no, I'm leaving. And he still was not convinced as I walked into the building and he took me in there. He still was not convinced that I was not an employee. And I'm still mad about the fact that they let this guy with no oxygen just sit there. I don't know the guy, but I would have paid for him to have an Uber or a Lyft or something just so he didn't have to sit there with no oxygen. That's ridiculous. That should never happen. I don't think I recorded that yesterday, but I am now. I call it Share Fare, but it's really called Ride KC. And that literally should have never happened. Oh, and one more thing, the bus did not have proper air conditioning. Like the air conditioner was blowing out warm air, and you would think that they would have known that before they decided to pick up someone in a bus that was blowing out warm air, because that could have been a really hot day, and if I was in that vehicle for a longer period of time, that would have been really, really bad. But yeah, so that's today's video. Sorry for all the emotion. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up or a like. Or dislike, I don't care. It's all of you. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have something to say. Don't forget to ring that notification bell. Sometimes it works. Make sure it's set to all notifications, not occasional though. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel to see my lovely content and or face. Hopefully you can see that. Don't forget to like and follow my Facebook and Twitter page respectively. They are both Steffi2010. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Voiceover on. Camera.